pals. It's Mel K at the Mel K Show, and it's January 26, 2021. And I'm coming to you live from New York City with my pal, Rob Reilly. How's it going, Rob?
Hi, Mel. It's a little bit cold here in New York. We had a little flurries. They were talking about the big weather event, and it just never happened. But that's fine. I'm actually feeling great. I'm kind of settled in to this new rhythm, right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like there's a new rhythm to this operation, and it required me to readjust my timeline a little bit,
Right.
and I have a new sense of peace and calm. And
Nice.
yeah, so I'm feeling good. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling that way. I'm starting to really readjust my thinking. I'm reinforcing my efforts, and I've been the last few days doing a lot of research. I've gotten a lot of information that I think is positive for anyone who loves America and wants to preserve our sovereignty and our freedom, and believes the election was fraudulent. And I feel good about a lot of stuff that maybe people aren't seeing. So I thought maybe we'd talk about some of the things that look like they might be bad things that could possibly be good things.
Right. One
Yeah.
thing as it relates to all that, there's so much emotion now, right? Because of what's happened over the last, few days or week or so. And I think taking a little time to step back and reevaluate where we are has helped me take a little bit of that emotion out of that
Yeah.
being reactive and being more strategic. Since we
Right.
are in a military operation, this is not on our timelines, and
No.
I'm really starting to feel that,
Right.
and I hope we help other people kind of understand that. Because what
Yeah. I
we
mean, that's the goal today, I think, because there's a bunch of things that everyone should probably, take a closer look at themselves and look up and research. One thing I did get from a military source is that the military is, in fact, there is a military leadership right now that is separate from the faux Biden administration. It was called into the Insurrection Act, and when the executive order for a foreign election interference was delivered and proven, and it was given to the Pentagon. So we have FEMA, Chris Miller, and Gaynor, and the military right now calling the shots in a lot of ways. I know it's not clear and they haven't told us, but it is clear to many people. And in the military, they are well aware of what is going on and how anxious and angry and confused the American people are. What I'm told is that the military, with their own sources, not having to do with polls or these ridiculous, sickening mainstream media talking heads, that the military has ways to account, and they will take action on the election fraud and other crimes once they feel that 70% of America would support the military involvement. So they're hanging back, waiting for the moment, but they do have all the evidence and everything that they need to come in and to finally, bring the pain, bring the storm. But
I
we
think
are
that's
having, yeah,
I think that's a really interesting or important point because I've talked about in the past how kind of you helped me open my eyes, and I mean the full process took quite some time, and a lot of people really haven't been exposed to any of this information if you're strictly consuming mainstream social media or news. So it, some of this scare or event type stuff is important for people to start to question and get through that cognitive dissonance, right?
mm-hmm,
So
yeah,
when those of us that are maybe quite awake say that, and we get feel like nothing's happening, we have to take a step back and say, wow, there's a lot going on.
right. First things that we can think about are, so Dominion goes and sues Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell. That looks like a bad thing, but it's actually a good thing. We already have all the evidence on Dominion cheating in the DNI Radcliffe report. It was given over to the military. They know about the 6 countries involved and about 20 nationals. So that's a lot of people that will be charged and will be seeing justice soon. Military justice, by the way, since it's treason. So the Dominion lawsuits, which, Dominion is now basically owned by the CCP and run by that Lord Moloch Brown. They have plenty of money. They can do these lawsuits, and for their own PR reasons, they lost. It's over, the big grand scheme. of the New World Order that they are pushing for. So they do these lawsuits, but guess what? We have the evidence, and Rudy gets discovery, and that will be, the mainstream media can't ignore that because discovery will be public, and maybe it'll come out that way.
And a lot of it
Second,
is very well organized, by the way. Remember, we have Navarro and his three published,
right, got plenty
books,
of
and
evidence.
what
Bring it
Sidney
on.
was doing, what Byrne was doing. There's a lot of
Right.
evidence.
Second, the impeachment nonsense. What we know about this ridiculous impeachment. Again, the American citizens should be furious that they are using our taxpayer money again to go after Donald Trump for reasons that make no rational sense and have nothing to do with the American people. This has to do with their vendetta on Trump for ruining their 16-year plan. And now they're going full speed towards communism and everything that they wanted, which will be stopped by the military. But this impeachment nonsense, there's people have come out, they already know 4 days prior to the quote unquote riot or siege, Nancy Pelosi, McConnell, and Schumer all knew what was going to happen. All the money and everything is tracing back to Antifa, Black Lives Matter, this Democrat Lawyers Guild, and George Soros's sons, different foundations, whatever they are. So impeaching Trump for inciting a riot that they themselves planned will backfire. But the good news again, discovery. So this will force the mainstream media to report the truth, which is what we know to be the truth, and that Donald Trump had nothing to do with this. And it was a planned false flag to demonize him and force all these new rules, as everyone's been seeing very scarily. Brennan and Schiff and Clapper, all these really evil traitors to we the people and our country are now calling for patriots and Trump supporters to be re-educated, to be arrested, that we're domestic terrorists. We're talking about 70 million people in America that they are saying need to be in camps. And there's a lot of people on the left and liberals that are not pushing back against this. And just remember that, today it's us, the next week could be you. And this is disgusting and un-American, yet they're out there, and CNN, MSNBC, all the left-wing CCP infiltrated media, they're all talking about that, arresting, 70 million people because they don't agree with them and because we blatantly saw election fraud and we wanted it investigated. Next, the DOJ today, trust Horowitz is something we heard before. The DOJ launches a probe into finding out if any current or former DOJ interfered with the results of the election. Now, this looks like the way that it's written looks one way, but again, investigation, discovery. We know that all of the lawsuits that were submitted, that most of them very valid by even by the AGs and Powell and Lynn Wood and all of them, very good cases, lots of evidence. The problem was that the judges refused to look at the evidence. The lie out there, the fake news, is that these went to the judges reviewed the evidence and rejected the cases. This is not true. The truth is that these rogue judges and people in these different districts and stuff, they refused to look at the evidence. That is called obstruction of justice. So that's another good level for public disclosure. I think all three things I just mentioned are more about public disclosure than about actual court cases or actual real, investigations or anything into Donald Trump or Powell or Rudy or whatever. I think it's a flip side, an inversion, where all of this stuff is going to be used against them because we have all the evidence. Rob, what do you think of that?
Well, this is where we are. I believe that we are in a phase of this operation that is trying to get the rest of the populace of our country, as well as globally, to understand that how deep this swamp is and how important the stakes are, so that
Right.
we can really clean this up. Because our president has told us a lot of different things over time, and one of the things is he said that this could never happen. This should never be allowed to ever happen again.
Right.
And he also told us, that we were being protected. So I think, we're being protected not only physically but also emotionally as best we can. But we're also told that there will be, consequences. Certain people are going to get hurt because it's going to be it's not an easy transition. I mean, there's
Yeah.
more D-class. Remember we were talking earlier about the FBI and the Clinton stuff and John
Right.
Solomon stuff.
Yeah, today there's been two big well, there's been a lot of D-class. Nobody they don't because the media doesn't report it. If
Right.
you're
That's
not
the
like
problem.
me going out there digging at the FBI vault or Corey Diggs toolkit or any of these places that you can find D-class, you're not seeing it. But actually, two things came out today. A memo that confirms that the FBI dropped all the cases against Hillary Clinton involving foreign money laundering, which basically the Clinton Foundation was a pay play foreign money laundering operation, not to mention a trafficking operation. But was released that this was known that Comey and the Department of Justice basically and the FBI gave Hillary Clinton a free pass. The other thing that came out in D-class is that they have phone recordings between Carter Page and spy Stefan Halper, who doesn't get enough press for being a real villain in the entire fake Russia Gate. But they have phone calls between the two of them that clearly make it very clear that all the Russian collusion and the Russian dossier were phony before they even got their first FISA. So they were already spying on Carter Page, and at the same time, they knew well before they went for their first, second, third, fourth FISAs that the story wasn't true. So they were digging and digging and digging and getting nothing, and took our taxpayer dollars and hijacked Donald Trump's presidency for no reason. And they have plenty of proof. And don't forget who signed off on all those FISAs, John Roberts. And he's been MIA, and he also came out and said that he won't be involved in the impeachment trial. So now we have Democratic demon Senator Patrick Leahy, who has been, if you looked at any of these hearings, he hates Trump. He hates the Republicans, and somehow he's going to be judge and a witness, I guess, in this ridiculous impeachment. But believe me, I think the impeachment is a big, big, big mirror, and it's going to reflect on them, not on us. So
I think a lot of this stuff is, the mirror. It's shining the light in the darkness.
Right.
And because in order for we, the people, to take back our country, we need to be woken up. We need to be activated.
Right.
And whether that's, doing like what we're doing, or for people starting to talk to their family, or for people getting motivated to go out and get involved in civic duties.
True.
These things, or how you spend your money, rooting out this evil. Because if we keep all spending our money on Amazon, I think it's going to get broken up anyway. But our behavior needs to change, and so a lot of this is directed, I believe, toward that.
Right. Well, a long time ago, we gave up the power that this government works for us. It's we the people, government for the people, by the people, and that the people are capable of ruling their own, or of governing themselves. The government's really supposed to be, function for specific things, but that's not what happened. And we can do a whole show on the corporation and what they've done to us and our illegal taxes and the private Fed and all of that another time. I kind of want to get through some of the news, but I think that's an important thing for people to understand how much the American taxpayers have been robbed, lied to, and manipulated, so that this small group of people in Washington, D.C. Made lots of money and stayed there and dug in and have contracts. And then when they leave government, they get these big board seats. All of this played on us. So yeah, now it's the time. And that's when I say again, the military info that I got was the military is going to wait until their internal people, not external, not polling, when their internal investigators feel that 70% of the American people will support military intervention, it will happen then and not before. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yep.
Second,
I know what you're going to get into now, and I just want to say another thing along that same line, right? Let's say there was 20, 30, 50, even if it's 100 million people, because there's probably a lot of Trump supporters that believe that this COVID thing, is really dangerous and real. If all of a sudden one day you told them all that the government and the global, governments have lied to them and locked them down for a year, and many have lost family
Everything.
members and jobs and all kinds of thing. I mean, I have my parents taking the shots, and they're pretty awoken. But so again, this COVID D class, right?
Yep.
It has to
So
happen.
that's what I'm getting into now. Okay, guys, we got to go back to the beginning. Was this about an election or was this about a virus? I know, and I'm not saying that the virus doesn't exist. It is a form of SARS. SARS has been around a long time. It's been manipulated, but there's a lot of D class that's going to be coming out in the next few days about this. And it's really heartbreaking to think that we've all been on this planet. Humanity has been so deceived by a small group of elite overlords that want a great reset and a one world order, but it seems to be pointing to that. Basically, it's been confirmed that the COVID-19, which honestly is a SARS disease, what COVID really stands for is a big wake up call. It's certification of vaccination identification. That's what COVID stands for. So this has always been about a vaccine, never about the SARS illness, which is it's a bad, very, very transmittable cold, but it's not deadly and it never was deadly. And the people that died of it, we really need to go back and look at that. But a lot's coming out about the fact that there's been no flu deaths this year, basically. Also that it does transmit really fast. So all of the elderly people that were in the hospice and in the nursing homes that got it obviously were at high risk. If they got the flu or pneumonia, they would also probably pass away or be at high risk. So that makes sense. But in terms of COVID does not stand for the illness. COVID stands for the vaccination. Number two, we have seen a lot of things happen since the election that make you go, wait a minute. First thing I'd say is that right after the election, 2 days after, Pfizer announces that they have a vaccine ready to go and that they're going to start shipping it right after faux Biden wins. Then right after that, we have the CDC is putting out that the figures are exaggerated of the death toll and that the CDC needs to go back and evaluate what the real death numbers are because apparently it was a big profit maker for the hospitals and for the insurance companies if a death was classified as COVID. Again, the PCR test, as we've been talking about, me and Rob, for a long time, the PCR test was not approved nor created to test this kind of virus. The PCR tests that everyone's using are giving false positives. And this was finally confirmed just 2 days ago by the World Health Organization not to use the PCR test, which they've been using for 10 months. Also,
And the guy who
mysteriously
invented it.
died right after. It's horrible. And he said it, the guy who created the test said that it wasn't for this and it was easily manipulated. Think Dominion's easily manipulated, PCR tests easily manipulated by the government to lock us down because now they say the cases are down 21%. But if you ask Cuomo or anyone else, they're flying out. Yeah, it's so sky high. No. Also, came out that a report that a lot of the hospitalizations and the emergency room overflow in California is due to the fact that there's a lot of illegals there and they're not counting that in, and the illegals, a lot of them go straight to the emergency room. So they're not taking that into account with the emergency room numbers. They're just saying that it's all COVID, which is coming out to be absolutely false.
It's also cold and flu season, right?
Yeah. Also, on top of that, CNN has taken away their death toll ticker, which I thought was interesting. Merck has come out and said that they're going to stop producing or trying to produce a vaccine because their records and their research says that getting the virus and getting over it with over-the-counter methods and naturally is better for the immune system, that the vaccines compromise the immune system in ways that aren't necessary for this virus. And Merck is also saying, as did Johns Hopkins, that over time, this is just going to be a really bad cold strain. So take that into account.
Didn't they get paid pretty well to figure that out?
Yeah, that is part of this, because guess what I found out? Dr. Fauci, of over 1 million federal employees, is the highest paid federal employee in America. Dr. Fauci. What are the odds? What are the
God
odds?
bless him.
I know. And then now, just after the inauguration, guess what? California, Virginia, Michigan, Chicago, and I'm sure coming our way in New York are ready to open. So if you put all this together,
Oh, wait,
and you,
HCQ,
oh, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot.
the AMA.
The biggest thing, the American Medical Association, 10 months after saying that HCQ would not work and had too many side effects, has put out a new report saying that hydrochloroquine does in fact cure the disease and has very little, if any, side effects. Thank
Well,
you, American Medical
if
Association.
anyone had really looked into that in the very beginning, you would find quotes from Dr. Fauci going back to, I think,
Yeah,
like the
to the 80s.
80s. Yeah,
Yep,
where he said that
it worked. Yeah.
HCQ was a very effective against SARS, coronavirus,
Right, right,
and that we were looking into the death toll numbers, and the as Bernie calls it, the 99.9% virus.
right.
And we love Truth in RTV. If anyone doesn't watch that, it's a great show. Um,
Funny.
but I was looking at the gross numbers, and it's about 2.8 million people, give or take. And I don't mean to be flippant about the number. I just don't have it in front of me. But the same amount of people have died in 2020 as about 2019, as about 2018.
Right.
We're not in some sort of up spike
No,
whereby you would expect a global pandemic, which enforced the entire country as well as the world
the
to shut
world.
down everything, close all borders, and mask and social distance. So something is not right here. And
This was so you have to ask yourself, was this about a virus or is this about an election? Also, the depopulation and eugenics agenda that has been Bill Gates's main goal and the goal of the UN and the One World Order for a very long time was in play. And this virus was planned, I believe. There's lots of evidence from Event 201 and from the 2010 Rockefeller Project Lockstep when climate change didn't work to scare us into submission. They went to the pandemic, in my opinion. And here we are. But it looks like everything, it's just, again, it's like with the cheating at the election, it was so extreme and in your face that, people yelling at you, you're not allowed to say that it's that you saw cheating right in front of your eyes on TV. This is another thing. There's just too many things pointing to that right after the election, and they get their guy in, the CCP forces in and cheats and gets in Joe Biden to lead to their one world order takeover of America. Now COVID's gone basically, and everything that we told you all along is true. And the AMA is coming out, CDC, World Health Organization, which of course Fauci now is going back to fund with our money, and also apparently going to be running the entire situation again under Joe Biden's faux presidency. So you need to look at that. You need to look at that and get upset. Do your own research. But look, these things
but
are.
also, I would say also be patient, because there are a lot of people that still need to
Yeah,
work
but
into
what I'm
this.
saying is, yeah, I agree with you. But my thing is, you have to do your own research. You got to arm yourself with facts and truth. What I'm telling you right here are facts and truth. And if you put them together in a timeline, it does appear, and this isn't just America, this is the whole world that was affected. And these people were backed against the wall by a alliance of world leaders that included Trump and many of the names that right now you don't really see as allied with Trump, but they are. They're the alliance, and they've been going after this international cabal. That is absolutely true. And these people at the very top, I'm talking about 3,000 people that go to Bilderberg and Davos and, our City of London, DC Corporation, Vatican. These people were pushing for their Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, and Trump got in the way. And this was a way to really accelerate it. So, we need to keep our eyes open to the truth, because the truth is being hidden in such a way that it's really upsetting people that have been through communist revolutions, the Bolsheviks, the Mao in China, the Iranian revolution, all of these things. Well, that's happening right now in America. And like Rob, we were talking before, Biden comes in and he's put in the most executive orders in the first 2 days in office, which must have been written a long time ago. God, they were sure he was going to win, I guess, because that's a lot of executive orders in 3 days.
I think it was
Who wrote?
17 in the
I
first
know,
day. There's an
exactly.
awful lot of that number popping up. It's
I
just,
know.
it's an anomaly, but maybe we're just focused on it, but it's very
Yeah.
funny.
I like that number a lot. It
Yeah,
makes me
I
happy.
know.
Um,
But
so
all of
yeah,
these oddities, the anomalies that I know you also wanted to talk about are again, that's giving us that little, that cracking that door open for those, and that those that have seen it already, it's giving them validation. So
right. It's just a very emotional time, and we have these mainstream media and liberal Democrats and a chunk of our country, probably the 30 million that voted for real for Biden, wanting to silence us and deperson us and attack us. I've been kicked off of Twitter. I know Rob has, but a lot of people are still on. Like, but I mean, I got a strike on here, there. I'm telling the truth, and I want people to do their own research. And this is not, you cannot trust the media. They are in on it. They are in cahoots. The CCP is running all of it, along with the Swiss banking cabal and the One World Order, UN-based agenda. And you can't anymore say, "Oh, that's a conspiracy theory." Please do your own research. We got to all be in this together, because the American people need to take our country back, as does every other country in the world. The people need to step up and say, no, this small group of elite life politicians who've drained our money and are corrupt and are not working for us, do not care, really need to go. They really need to go. And I think they will when the military is ready. Again, we find out things like this. So Joe Biden gives his first speech on Buy American, even though he said that it was racist that Trump said America first. So I don't know how to figure that out. But only 3,500 people tuned in. And he's the most popular president ever. So, that's one thing. Then it finds out that it just came out today that more than half of Joe Biden's Twitter followers are fake, being created in January, and have zero followers, and zero are following zero people. So half of his Twitter account right now, which is only 6 million to Trump's 80 million, are bots. And then, he's doing crazy things that don't make any sense. First, I don't know why anyone would do this, because I know a lot of people that take insulin. My poor doggy does. And I have to tell you, it's very, very expensive. Trump went in and he lowered the costs. And for some reason, one of Biden's first executive orders was to put insulin back and epinephrine back to $400 I guess a dose. So this is I don't understand why he would ever touch that. It was a win against Big Pharma, and he gave it back to them. Also, behind the scenes, some people might not realize that he's doing a lot of things that are upsetting foreign countries, and they're speaking out. Canada is furious, the Canadian military, about the Keystone Pipeline, which, of course, stopping the Keystone Pipeline ends our independence from foreign oil. So we're going to have to get oil again from foreign countries. There were demonstrations in Russia that the Russian ministry says were coordinated by the U.S. Embassy in Moscow, by the same people that were involved in the January 6th attack on Congress. That was by Antifa and the Antifa backers. And they have warned Biden that they know that, and to stay out of Russia's politics. On top of that, people probably don't know because they're not reporting it in the news. Biden has made a lot of really, really scary war moves in the last few days. I'm not sure if the military is following what he's saying, but he has ordered a bunch of stuff, including 2 U.S. Navy warships to go into the Black Sea, a nuclear-capable B-1 bomber into the Arctic. He's joined Japan with military force in the disputed islands in the East China Sea, and he's said that he's going to rejoin the Iran deal and going to be backing the people that did the Arab Spring, which failed and killed millions of people. And he also has been basically deliberately canceling out all federal land contracts for oil and gas exploration, um, thus putting us back in a position to be dependent on foreign oil. And nobody really can explain these moves. And
Ukraine has a lot of foreign oil. They probably like to sell us through Burisma.
yeah, well, Joe and his family will make a lot of money on that, probably.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, it's like
But
laughable.
it's so absurd. This is why, look, you know, all of these things as they roll out, that he wants ICE to release every person just
Right.
like that. Just
Yeah, no,
let
he
him go.
he already put in an executive order that ICE has to release every illegal alien in custody. The people in custody are very dangerous people. We're not talking about, you're somebody that gets has to go to court. A lot of people, when they get caught by ICE, they have to a court date, whatever. No, these are people that are in custody because they're dangerous criminals. And he's ordered ICE to release everyone. He's also ordered a complete halt to the border wall, and a lot of sheriffs and other local people that are on the border in Arizona and Texas are up in arms. It's not only is the wall working, but they think that it's incredibly dangerous because he also has put out the signal with the squad for caravans to come up through Guatemala and Honduras through Mexico. And the Mexican president is furious, and he says he wants the wall, and he's not going to allow all these people to come through Mexico to go to our border because Joe Biden's inviting them in. And so that's causing a problem. I mean, we're talking about, it's been a week.
This guy's an incredibly effective leader.
Oh my God. So we have almost every country, up in arms with everything that he's done so far. And now also, as I talked about before, Tulsi Gabbard, who's coming out again, is she should have been an independent, I guess. The Democrats really messed with her, and she's coming back, really championing for we the people again, saying that Brennan Schiff and big tech oligarchs are more dangerous than the mob that stormed the Capitol, and that they are trying to install a totalitarian overlord government that she fears is going to turn us into basically a communist country where dissenters are put in prison. And she's warning them now that this is not okay and it's not going to end well. And, she's being a voice out there to say, these people are behaving like oligarchs that are, again, Bolshevik revolution, and threatening to lock up patriots or anyone that dissents, basically CNN, MSNBC, and they're like, they just tell you to shut up, you're wrong. There was no cheating. There was no this, the violent protests were Trump supporters, all this. Well, you know what? We need more voices like Gabbard. I always liked her, and I'm glad she came out and spoke out against it, as did Rand Paul. But the censorship is on another level when they're talking about rounding you up and putting you in jail. Brandon Starka, who's the Walk Away leader, he's in jail right now. Yet they let out John Sullivan, who's on camera with the CNN crew, setting up and letting people into the Capitol and cheering them on and calling for taking down the house. And he's free, and Brandon's in prison, or jail. Yeah.
I had a friend read through that HR1, their first House resolution.
Disgusting. Oh my
And, this person is, it's fairly awake, but, has his moments of doubt. But after reading that, he said, what are these people thinking?
No, you gotta. Oh yeah, that's another thing. There's so much news I'm trying not to go. We're trying to make it a little more digestible, but yeah, this is important. And I ask every one of you, please go look at it for yourself. Basically, the entire scheme to cheat in the election is laid out in this new bill by the Democrats, HR1 for the People Act. Really what it is it's a forever election theft manual. If you look at it, it is the most disgusting, anti-American, end of America, forget our sovereignty. We will never have a legal election again. It's also, if they put it through, it will, when the truth comes out and we find that our election was a fraud and that they did cheat, they're going to use this to say, well, we passed that. So anyway,
Ain't happening.
if you look at it, I'll just Please go look up HR1. It's written by this John P. Sarbanes.
Sarbanes.
This guy hates
Sarbanes.
America, as far as I'm concerned, and we the people. He does not respect our rights as citizens of the United States of America, and it's absolutely appalling. First of all, they're demanding that internet only registration with electronic signature submission. What could go wrong? Number two, online application for voter registration. Banning the requirement to provide a social security number for voter registration. Prohibiting states from requiring applicants to provide more than last 4 digits of social security. Nationwide motor voter registration. Well, what did they do? They made it legal in many states to get driver's license. Well, this would mean that anytime you get a driver's license or renew your license, you're automatically a registered voter. On top of that, 16-year-olds can now be registered to vote and vote in certain elections. Nationwide same-day voter registration, which takes away the ability to verify that somebody's a citizen or anything else. And they're granting $25 million for using minors in election activities to encourage minors to be involved in the process. Well, we're going to find out soon a lot of minors voted illegally in this election. And that's also because they have brainwashed our kids, and we've kind of allowed them. And so they have a lot of control over kids in public school, and they are going to use it. Also prohibiting any attempt to clean voter rolls of non-residents, which means if you are registered to vote illegally and you're an illegal and you get it through the motor vehicles or whatever else, the government is not allowed to clean up the voter roll. So once you're registered to vote, that's it.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
That's for anyone. I mean, let's say you've moved a few times, so
Right, it doesn't matter.
those
Right.
could be harvested ballots,
Right.
you know,
It can be in
anything.
multiple states,
I
but
mean, I
it
think-
doesn't matter. Yeah.
You know, this is a long bill.
Sickening. Well,
but-
so I'll just finish it up
Yeah.
a little. It gives back the right to vote to felons, mandatory early voting in all states, nationwide vote by mail, ban on ballot protection measures, legalizing limitless ballot harvesting, and promoting that people can submit ballots for other people. And also, identification requirement is not a condition of obtaining a ballot, prohibiting requirement to provide a witness signature or any other conditions about casting ballot, permitting voters to designate other people to return their ballots, and so on. Also, a complete ban on voter ID.
Excellent.
This is the most disgusting, scary dereliction of duty I have ever seen. And as Nancy Pelosi said, this is their number one priority. This is the playbook for how they stole the election. And this HR1 is an affront to every American citizen who pays taxes and just wants to work, take care of their family, and have a safe, secure country. This is a ceding of our sovereignty, folks. And if you don't see that this is the end of fair, free elections in our country, then, you know, I don't know what to tell you, but, you know, there's just a lot here that is so dangerous and so scary. And then it also has in it a total ban on publicly challenging an election like they've done this time. It also wants to put a laws in for fighting disinformation, as they did this time, which the disinformation tends to be the truth. And also lots of enforcement on news, social media, and other avenues for people that don't believe or dissent, as they're doing now, to be held accountable and prosecuted for just questioning the election or the fairness. So just know that that's the first big bill that they're going to pass, and Nancy Pelosi thinks it's the most important. And anything else, Rob?
Well, there was a kind of a little bit of a funny thing when we talk about nothing's happening, but one of the members of our Telegram group, which is the Mel K Show group.
Yeah,
Telegram.
it's fun.
It's fun. We have a lot of trolls in there, and I'm trying to manage that, but we're so busy, and I don't really know how to use Telegram that well. So, but I have a few people.
Mean. It's okay.
Yeah, but and we like the
We're getting rid of
dialogue.
them.
We
But
like
we've
the
got a lot of awesome people in the
yeah, we
Mel
do.
K
We
Show
do have,
Telegram. Great news.
yeah. Anyway, but so someone sent me some information that they've been tracking uh the names of celebrities that we may have gotten in trouble, from the Epstein stuff and other things,
Right.
and home sales. And there's an awful lot of
Yeah.
short
Celebrities selling their homes
celebrities that were on those
and
lists.
bankers and stuff in New York
Yeah.
City.
A
Yep.
lot of people that have been, either softly or hardly implicated on
Right.
a lot of these
Epstein.
are liquidating assets. So, and I
Right.
remember way back when, remember you said, I don't know, 2.5 years ago that you said, was it the Rothschilds that are
The
selling?
Rothschilds were liquidating their assets. I told you about 2 years ago, and when I just got started with this, and I said, why are they liquidating their assets? They kept having auctions all over of their stuff and their property, and then the whole thing with the Black Forest and all of
Right, the
that. So
castle
I
and the
think
hunting
they were the
grounds.
first to go.
Yeah.
We know that they say that the head of the Rothschild family is had a heart attack last week, but he might be in hiding. Who knows? He's going down though.
Yeah.
What they've done to this world, that banking cabal family, the Swiss bankers, the World Economic Forum, UN, all these, the Rockefeller Foundation, it's all been to their own gain and enslave humanity and make us debt slaves. And it's really, and it's far worse than that. And just one more thing on the Epstein, because I keep telling everyone, wait for the Epstein boomerang. It's going to be way bigger than people think. But Leon Black steps down as Apollo CEO after review finds he paid Jeffrey Epstein $158 million. So again, that goes back to when does a bird sing? So we got a couple more to go in this Epstein top rung. But let me tell you something. Black is talking. Weinstein's talking. Les Wexner, which should be the next to be arrested. Nygaard's talking. Glenn Dubin's talking. Ed Buck's talking. They're all talking. I also got information that the Standard Hotel is being sold. So get ready for the Epstein boomerang, kids. It ain't over. And
And
stay
guess
positive.
and guess what our president did?
What, he started a new office?
He did start a new office. Is I mean, if you can't laugh sometimes or a lot at some of this stuff. So
Right.
our president, our former president, our
He's our
civil,
president.
yeah, I know. So it's the office of the former president.
Yeah.
It was like
Oh,
Biden's,
it should be the former CEO of the corporation. Well, that's the
right.
thing. I want everyone to know, and we'll do another show on it. I've done a couple. That in order for to call the Insurrection Act and for the executive order to go into action, I believe a bunch of executive orders went into action behind the scenes that we don't know about yet. But Trump had to walk away. And because the Corporation of the United States of America is bankrupt, has been since March 2020. And it is defunct and it is a foreign entity and all will be revealed. But Trump needed to go away because this is honestly a military operation. The military are the ones that they fight for the Constitution and we the people. And that is their job and that is what they're doing. It's just going to be on their timeline. Again, they're waiting for 70% of America to welcome the military coming in and taking care of this before they move. So everyone get info out there. We got to redouble our efforts.
But be
Don't
gentle,
be
be
afraid.
nice.
Don't be afraid to tell people the truth. Look at what I've been attacked so much. I am telling the truth. Go research for yourself. I go to this CoreyDiggs.com has an amazing page for diggers. You can go to many of the WikiLeaks stuff is online. The FBI vault.gov has a lot of D-class. There's plenty of places to find all this stuff. I'm going to do a show tomorrow. I found some new info on George H.W. Bush that'll help. But what we need to do is we need to arm ourselves with facts and truth, share it, spread it without fear. They will not silence us. And as soon as the military feels it's time, I have full faith that the military will step in. And please trust the military, trust God, and mostly trust yourselves. And make sure you visit us at the melkshow.com because I can't chit chat on Twitter anymore, but I can talk on my own channel. And also we're at Mel K Show on BitChute. I had a strike on YouTube, but we'll be back there on Thursday for as long as they'll keep me. And you guys, please stay positive. This isn't over. It's not about Trump. It's about us. It's about me and you and our families and our lives and our communities and freedom and God and country. And we will win. And the military has our back. I promise you that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patriots. Have a great day and
See you
hold that
tomorrow.
line. See you
Stay
tomorrow,
positive, kids.
Patriots.
We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. It's just not gonna be as fast as we'd hope.
Yeah. Well,
Have a great night.
I'm settled into that new timeline. So
Me too. I'm
let's
trusting the military.
let's do
Okay,
it.
guys. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.